Welcome back to another episode of How I Got the Shot. This session features a model slash actress slash business owner named Kenise based out of South Florida. We completed 4 looks using multiple spaces throughout the studio. For gear, I'm shooting with the Canon R5 with the 24-70 2.8. My strobes are the Profoto B1X on location kit with a 5-foot octobox attached and triggered by the Air remote. I use a 6-foot reflector and a 2-foot reflector for field purposes. For tethering, I connected my camera and computer with the 16-foot USB-C to USB-C cable from IQWire. Now, for this session, the visual goals were simple. We wanted to showcase Kenise in her role as a leader and as the face of her brand. As you can see in the mood board, the concepts were simple, professional, and dramatic. We improvised, as one should, throughout the session, but primarily stuck to what we agreed upon in the mood board. This studio was chosen because of its versatility. It allowed us to shift quickly and get an entirely different vibe, even though the undertones were the same. Each background matched the other, but weren't identical at all. We've all seen these types of studios around, especially in Miami. Like, they're literally everywhere. Like, go to Wynwood, go to Brickell, you're gonna see a bunch of apartments converted into studios. But I shoot at this one again because of the space itself. I really like the choices that they made with the size of the props, the colors that they chose for it. And then you had a ton of small props as well. Like, I really like how they stylized everything. The customer service was really great. The young lady who greeted us at the door made the process really easy. She helped us with finding parking, which I think they had like 4 dedicated spots. But overall, like, she just let us do what we needed to do. She didn't really interrupt. And anytime we had questions, she would just answer those questions and then get back to what she was doing. We would get back to what we were doing. And then it was just really easy to move around the space. There was ample space for me to store my gear. Like, I use one of those carts, but then I also have a giant case from Think Tank that lets me, put all my stuff in there. So moving all that stuff around is not always easy, but this space had enough space. So it made it really easy to get my stuff around. So here's my thinking when it comes to branding. I always try to make sure I get a headshot in each look, in addition to getting full body shots to highlight the individual. Not every pose works for everybody. I don't try to apply any type of cookie cutter stuff that I've seen for, my last client to every client, because people's body compositions are different. The age is different. The overall quote unquote swag is different. The wardrobe choices, hairstyles, makeup, and their personality all decide what poses should be chosen. Being that Kenise is a model, there were a myriad of options. Like, she's very, very versatile in that respect. She's also very aware of her body and her brand. So there were times when she would do certain things that I'm like, okay, I know that really works for Kenise, but that may not work for someone else. So it was very easy switching between big smiles and laughing to show the inviting side of her, which would be great for lifestyle projects. But then also going into that corporate mode that showed that she's a boss, that she's in charge, showing that she could play that role for a movie or commercial or any type of project in between. I chose the 5-foot octobox because a large light source close to your subject just genuinely makes everything more dramatic, and it makes the light really soft. But I could also pull it back and cover a large space so that everything was pretty much even as far as lighting. And then the client themselves would just show out in the middle without any type of drama. This reduces all the additional shadows you may see in a shot. It's the modifier I think to use for every shoot. Like, it's literally my first thought. For studio shoots where the lighting and mood doesn't change much, neither do my camera settings. We were in control of the environment, so most of the adjustments made were just to keep her in focus, as far as like the autofocusing system and the composition, and figuring out like where I wanted to put her versus like changing my, aperture and shutter speed too often. For the most part, once I locked in my aperture and my shutter speed, I would just raise my ISO as needed, especially if I didn't want to move the strobe. Like, it was pretty simple, as you guys can see. There wasn't a lot of hard calculations needed to be made. Like, once I got it locked in, pretty much kept that for the whole shoot. And as you guys know, your aperture controls your strobe, your shutter speed controls your ambient light, and then your ISO just boosts everything together. Our overall goal were to create clean shots that made the subject the main focus. Like, we want to keep your eye on Kenise and who she is, and we accomplished that. Kenise loved seeing the photos on the computer while we were shooting, and then even more when she got the final edits. She's already put in the images to use, and as a photographer, that's like the final confirmation to know like we really did exactly what we had planned to do. One thing I was reminded of that day that I want to pass on to you all is that you guys need to shoot often and maximize your gear. It's a lot easier to get set up and to problem solve when you really know your gear. I'm saying that to you guys, and also a reminder to myself. Like, again, I've been shooting for 15 years. And one of the things I know is, like, the more that I shoot, the sharper that I stay. If you don't shoot often, you can forget. You gotta work that muscle. But thank you all for taking the time to enjoy this episode. As always, like if you feel inspired to, leave a comment if you have any questions or thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Press the buttons, like just press the button. It's just really easy. You look at the button, you press the button. Hooray! Everybody wins. Yes? All right, cool. And before you go, I know we're creating for our network of friends and family. I know we're creating for clients and such, but make sure you're making time to create for yourself. See you in the next one. Peace.